Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. We're on season 5, episode number 36. Tonight's a sports edition only. Andy, how are you?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
Good. We finished the 4th of July. It's July 8th. And
all my fingers are here.
We all have the digits. July 8th, 2024. We've gotten over the hump. The first major holiday of the summer season is done. We're at the halfway point of Major League Baseball. Things are looking up. Things are going fast.
They're falling into place, they say.
Well, let's start off the show with a trivia question like we always do.
All right.
We'll give the listeners a chance to ponder it, maybe look it up, Google it. End of the show, we'll give you the answer. So we all know about the infamous Minnesota Twins that pulled 2 triple plays off in one single game.
Yes.
Back in the early 90s, I think. Or was it
the Rat, the Lambo, the Herbie? Yep.
Gary Gaetti was involved. It was the same connection. They did it twice in a single game. The question for tonight is, who was the opponent? Who was the opponent that fateful day? And we'll give the answer at the end of the episode. But now we can start off with some sports news and nuggets.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Just a second here. All right. Whoops. You got me there. All right. Here we are.
Okay. There we go.
I'm just playing around here with my stuff. All right. Here. That came out wrong. Playing around with my stuff. All right. Let's go over.
Playing with your buttons.
Some stuff here. We got some standings in the different areas, if you will, the different conferences for town ball. And there's the River Valley League. Got Burnsville. You seeing that? Did I get it over there? There you go. Hold on.
I don't see it yet. No.
Hold on.
We'll wait just a sec. We'll talk a little town ball.
We'll do the Crow River League South first. I apologize. Got YA at first. These are as of Saturday. And there's no games Saturday. So got YA first at 14-1. Plato 11-3. Green Isle 11-6. Broughton 10-6. Then we go to the north. Waconia 15-2. Watertown 13-2. Glencoe 8-8, and St. Bonnie 6-7. Watertown will make up one of those games this week. They got I think 3 games this week. Waconia 2. A lot of makeup games coming up here because of the rain and the waters. So we're 2 games. Waconia's got 2 games played ahead of us. They won both of those. So got our work cut out for us, as they say in Watertown. Here's the River Valley League. Like I said, you got Burnsville in the B division side, Class B. Burnsville, Victoria Vicks, and Shakopee Indians. Burnsville 6-0, 6-1 for the Vicks, 6-2 for Shakopee. Then the West, which is C Class, Jordan 7-0, Belle Plaine Tigers 5-3, and St. Peter Saints 5-4. Then North Star League there, our friends just to the other side of us here. Hutchinson 8-1, Buffalo 7-1, Delano 8-2, Loretto 8-3. So very close right there. DC at 6-5. So close there, very very close. Rockford 0-11. Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Not gonna get into the voting. Not gonna get into who got jobbed, who didn't get jobbed. Just one part I thought was kind of neat when I looked it up. It was very kind of, I thought it was cool. Let's look at the pitchers who were announced. Here's the American League starters. Tim Anderson from the Angels. They have a losing record. Who's it for the White Sox? Garrett. They got a losing record. 2 guys from Kansas City who are not in the playoffs if the playoffs started today. Mason Miller from Oakland. Suckball from Detroit. What can I say about those 2 teams? They're doing horrible, and they both make it. Look at all the first-timers. Corbin Burns is the veteran on there with his 4th. The rest is either their first. And Clay's from Cleveland has 3rd. Everybody else is their 1st or 2nd time. So a lot of fresh blood for the American League pitchers here. That's kind of cool. In the National League, Somehow the Phillies get 4 pitchers on the list. I don't know. But if you look between the two lists, a lot of ex-Mets on there, which is kind of cool. A lot of guys with losing records that are in there. So again, just because you're winning doesn't mean you'll make it. But if you look at Paul Skees for Pittsburgh, I was reading something about him. He's 5-0 in his 10 starts. Doesn't 70-some Ks or some unreal number like that. Since last year when he was at the College World Series, he's in the College World Series, College World Series MVP, first pick. Now he's in the show, All-Star game. By the way, if you checked out his girlfriend online, Liv Dunn, I mean, the man is living right. If you're in line behind him and he buys a lottery ticket, don't buy the next one because he won the big one. He's just living right now. Some more baseball stuff. Yeah. The only team not to pitch a shutout yet this year, the Mets. See, I report bad things for the Mets too.
Ouch. Okay. No shutout. The only team. Okay.
That means even the White Sox and Tigers have thrown a shutout. They got each other pitcher in the All-Star game.
And we're 90 games in, so
we're in July, for God's sake.
Statistically, you would have had at least one, but now watch the rest of the season. They'll have 3 or 4 together. Here's
a picture from opening day in Seattle back in '69, and they were still building the bleachers. You don't see fine craftsmanship like that anymore either.
The pilots.
Yes.
No.
You don't see good craftsmanship like that. Going to talk a little bit of the W, as they like to call it. Now, in this one, I think Dan called it last week, but Caitlin Clark, first person to get a triple-double in the WNBA. Just a couple days. Remember we talked about it last week? We said no one had a triple-double yet.
Yes. And so it is. To clarify, I think I misspoke and said last time that no one had ever recorded a triple-double. What I meant to say was no rookie had ever done it in the WNBA, a triple-double, and Caitlin Clark did it a few days later.
Yep. Ta-da.
That's unbelievable.
Anything else you want to mention that's never happened, Dan, and we can see what happens this week?
No, I don't know.
Like the Mets haven't pitched a shutout yet? Can you say that?
Mets will pitch a shutout, yes.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Now, here's the WNBA All-Star game this year. And what they're doing for something a little different because the Olympics, it's the All-Stars against the Olympic team. So that's kind of cool. I can live with that.
Yep.
Or as they call it, USA Basketball Women's National Team. Here's your team WNBA. Of course, you see Caitlin on there. A lot of veterans and rookies on there. A couple years in the league. You see years serviced and what number All-Star game this is for them. And since it's combined for Olympic and this, you get some fresh blood in there because you got to have so many each position. So that's just the way it is. And of course, there's our Olympic team. So it'd be kind of fun to see, a lot of these people who didn't make the Olympic team, the Angel Reese's, the Caitlin Clarks. Maybe I'll show the national coaches team, hey, remember me in 4 years,
Yeah, I agree. This will be an interesting game, and I think it'll be heavily watched because this is the people that are going to be in the Olympics playing against the young up and rising stars that are probably the true all-star team that one could argue should be in the Olympics. So this would be
the next all-star team, maybe, the next Olympic team.
That should be the ones that have complained about not making it or getting snubbed or not making the Olympic team. Well, there's already 12 on the Olympic team, so this is like the next best group. So if they talk big and they come back and win, this is big news. If they get a drubbing, then it's all going to be fair and square. But I think everyone's going to watch this game. This is an evening. I think it's a primetime game on television on a Friday night or something. And so I think this will be the game that they're going to want to watch. This will be good.
The other night, WWE had their Money in the Bank. Let me explain to you what Money in the Bank is. It's 6 people in the ring. Yes. It's a ladder match. They have a suitcase, which is a Money in the Bank briefcase. First person to climb the ladder unhooked the briefcase from the hookup there, gets it. And in that briefcase is a contract you can cash in at any time for a title belt. Usually what they do, they'll come in after a champion just barely won, got their ass beat, then they'll cash it in right after a match. And the match usually lasts like 8 seconds afterwards. They put the finisher on, pin them 1, 2, 3. That's usually the way it works. Drew McIntyre won it for the men last night. And during their championship match, he came in to cash in, thinking he could take advantage. He didn't. He lost. Not a smart move. But on the women's side, let me check my watch here. Yep. It's Tiffy time.
Yes.
Local girl, Prior Lake, Minnesota, makes it good. So now she's got the Money in the Bank case. She can cash it in on either Raw or SmackDown, or if she wants to go back to NXT and win that one, for crying out loud, she can. But so watch for her to maybe jump over to the other one to win that belt. We'll see how it goes. But congratulations to Jessica on winning the belt. Sorry, Tiffany Stratton on winning the belt. And also, WWE is going to plan a new women's U.S. champion and women's intercontinental champion. Okay. 2 more belts, 1 for each show. I don't know which one's going to go on Raw, which will go on SmackDown. I don't know. If they'll keep the U.S. belts both on the same for men and women or switch them around, I don't know what they'll do. It's WWE, and I don't think they know what they're doing yet either. They're just making up as they go along. Nice looking belt designs, though. NASCAR. Let's just look at the playoff standings right here coming up. It's got a few races to go. If they have a little checkered flag here, that means they've won a race and they're automatically in. Top 16 make the chase for the cup. There's the last 4 spots there. Martin Truex Jr. There's Ty. There's Ross. I'm surprised he hasn't won yet. That just surprises me. But the first 3 looking out there, you got Bubba Wallace, who's 45 behind, Chase Briscoe, and Kyle Busch. I think he might need to win. That's a lot of points to make up. So here's the schedule. They got 2 here in July. The Brickyard coming up on the 21st. That's at the Indianapolis 500 Speedway. That 3 in August. The Cookout 400. The Firekeepers Casino 400. That's in Michigan. You figure a casino race would be in Vegas, but it's not. And the Coke Zero 400 down at Daytona. Then the Cookout Southern 500, and then they start. So he's got what? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 races to make up points. I think someone's got to win some races to make it. And they go. You go back in the time machine. Kind of one of my favorite bits here. Or Sherman and Peabody. Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin wouldn't play a round of golf unless cocktails were served. So the Old Desert Inn in Vegas stocked a cart with drinks to support their round. The rest is history. Golfers can now thank Sinatra and Martin for inventing the beverage cart.
Oh, really? That's how it started.
Would I lie to you?
Wow. See, we're
here to educate.
Yeah, I did not know that. I never heard of that story, actually.
We are here to educate, yes. Some more sports notes here. Yeah, a little notepad guy. New owner of the Seattle Seahawks rumor, the guy from Amazon. Now, is this just plugged because of Amazon Prime Day coming up next week, or is he really interested? I mean, the family that owns the Seahawks, they got boatloads of cake anyway, so who else could compete with them except the guy from Amazon? So would be kind of interesting if they got it. That'd be kind of cool. Cubs reliever Colton Brewer breaks his non-pitching hand while punching the wall after a bad outing against the Angels. Now, you see, he learned.
Well, we've seen this in the past. You know, Andy, we've seen this in the past.
Yep.
Yeah, we've seen this in the past. But now, at least here, it looks like he's thinking ahead and saying, if I do punch something, it better be with hand letter, X or Y, which hand. So making a cognitive decision, that's good. That's good.
Kind of like a Bull Durham. You don't hit a drunk with your pitching hand. So smart move. I applaud him. Use the other hand. Good job, young man.
Taking it to the next level.
Marge Schott. Cincinnati Reds owner Marge Schott was annoyed after her team swept the Oakland A's in 4 games in 1990 World Series because it denied her revenue of Game 5. She refused to pay for any post-game celebrations for the team, so the Reds celebrated on their own with hamburgers. You gotta love Marge Schott.
This is classic.
That's classic
stuff right here.
You stopped me. You prevented me from getting a ticket draw and some stuff. Fine, you guys are on your own. And that was that was only 35 years ago, 34 years ago. Look how things have changed now with the size of the rings for champions and the huge parades and the celebrations.
And usually it's the broadcast or the television rights wanting the 7 games, wanting it to go the distance to get the extra money. This was before that. This was the owner herself saying, I want this to go more games. I want that extra cha-ching.
And there she is choking out a heater in the stands too. All right, here we go. Talking about this the other day. NBA legend Karl Malone reportedly claims to have finally made peace with his former NFL son after impregnating his 13-year-old mother as a 20-year-old. NBA legend Karl Malone.
We may need to say this again now.
Yep. So Karl Malone refused that he was this guy's father. Because the mother at the time was 13 years old, and Karl Malone, nope, not me. Well, not
because he couldn't.
He'd been killed. He'd been done.
Yeah.
NBA legend Karl Malone has once again come under fire for his scandalous past, following an online rumor claiming that he finally made peace with his son. It's been widely known that the former Utah Jazz star had a son with a 13-year-old while he was a fully grown adult, though he never dealt with any consequences. Malone, now 60, had a son conceived with a 13-year-old, and I'm not going to read it. You can look it up. That's her problem. When he was 20, so when Karl was 20, she was 13. He refused to acknowledge or support him, only meeting him once before they agreed to work out the relationship in 2014. The son, he went on by the name Demetrius until finding out he was actually spelled Demetrius, spelled differently. But his name's Demetrius. It's 2 different spellings. You can find it online. Until finding out it was actually spelled this way in 2012. He is also a basketball player and went on to play at Northwestern State College on a scholarship, but opted to focus on football, leading to a 5-year career in the NFL. So Demetrius Bell is the son of Karl Malone. According to the social media claim on Facebook, Malone recently revealed having made peace with Bell. Malone initially denied paternity, fearing imprisonment, and refused to pay $125 a week in child support, despite earning over $101 million throughout his NBA career. He eventually settled with the family out of court, and a DNA test did in fact reveal Malone was the father of Buffalo Bills player Demetrius Bell. Malone now publicly acknowledges Bell as a son, etc., etc., etc. So, guy makes over $100 million a year just in basketball. Can't afford $125 a week in child support. Thanks for making us single dads look like a prick. I always liked Karl Malone as a player, but there's something about it. Like, if someone told me there was dead bodies in his basement, I'd believe it, you know. And I guess this story just kind of proves that too. I mean, you got to admit, there was always something about Karl Malone. He was a good player, great player, but you know. First female cup keeper, Margay Bitove. Now, you always see the one guy holding the Stanley Cup, always brings it out afterwards. There's a gal who's is the cup keeper now. So congrats to her. You know, I don't know if there's the only way. Did the other guy retire? Is it a group of people? I don't know the full story on this. I saw a story. I thought, great. More gals getting involved. Happy news. Jessica Campbell is now an assistant coach, bench coach for our beloved Seattle Kraken. Jessica Campbell's always been around her work, but what she's She played at Cornell University, putting up 100 points across 4 seasons and captaining her squad in her final year. She's also fueled success in Team Canada and Calgary in the International League. JC Power Skating, a path into coaching behind the bench in Europe and North America. So she's going to be one of the first females behind the bench. So that's it. There hasn't been a gal coach or a trainer or something like that, but she's actually behind the bench. You'll see her there, kind of like you see Becky Hammond was with the San Antonio Spurs for all those years. Now she's finally coaching. Now, am I saying Jessica Campbell's going to be a head coach in the next 3 years? No. Could she be? Yeah. But I'm not predicting any timeline for her. But congrats to her on making headway and starting that path. And also Seattle Mariners president of business operations, she has stepped down. So a lot of female job changes going on in the Seattle area there. So some local news.
So she took, I believe, Andy, I think she took a job back east.
Yep.
And then turned down and resigned this particular one. Yep. But yeah, a lot of
no scandal.
Women in the news.
Clean step down, different job. Yep. Some local news. Hockey Day in Minnesota, which is to be played at Valley Fair this year, which I have a problem with. But now Hockey Day in Minnesota is, if you look at the link and you click on it, it takes you to the Minnesota Wild page. It's all sponsored by Minnesota Wild, not Minnesota State High School League. And I saw a post to put out their hockey games for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I thought, well, that's great. Well, they'll click on that link and get some images. There's actually games on Wednesday they weren't posting either. There's 2 games Wednesday, Lakeville North against Rosemont girls, and then later on Eastview and Rosemont boys. But these games are not televised, but they'll be Wednesday, the 22nd out there of January. And Thursday's matchups, Northfield versus Orono girls, Prior Lake against Eden Prairie girls, and Shakopee against Brainerd girls team on Thursday. Again, none of these are televised. Valley Sports 2, Channel 9, Channel 9 Plus, all these local channels, but we can't televise these games. But we're going to set up an ice arena at Valley Fair, but we're not going to televise these and sell advertising. No. Friday's games, boys, Orono against Delano, Lakeville South against Prior Lake. You can't tell me a Friday matchup between Orono and Delano wouldn't draw you fans on TV to watch.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Saturday's matchups for TV, Eden Prairie and Hibbing. Now, here's a good one. Women's College, Gophers and Bemidji State.
The Beavs.
Go Beavs. The Shakopee boys against Maple Grove, and then the Wild and the Flames, but they play at X. They don't play outside. But these 3 will be on TV. Why these other date games aren't going to be on Valley Sports 2, Fox 9 Plus, why they didn't ask us to live stream them, I don't know. People would watch that. I'm just saying, you're throwing advertising money away here. Very dumb move on their part. You're putting all this money to build a rink at Valley Fair for 4 days, but you're not going to televise it.
So is there, this is January, so there's probably, I'm guessing, Wild games or Timberwolves games or something else in those time slots?
But you can't tell us. Channel 9 can't do them.
Yeah.
You can't play them, whatever. Whatevs, as we say.
Yes.
And that's all I got, man. That's all I got. I do gotta go back one more thing on the WWE Money in the Bank.
Yes.
There was in the one match, as they say, an error, a mistake.
Okay.
One guy Damian Priest was supposed to kick out at the 2 count. As he kicked out because he was being pinned, that's when Drew McIntyre was going to run down to the ring. Ref went 1, 2, and he stopped. Drew McIntyre never kicked, or Damian Priest never kicked out, but they cued the music and the other guy came running down. So everybody's like, what the hell? He could have pinned that guy, but
So little errors like that.
But backstage was not upset with him, which kind of confused me a little bit too. So, but hey, oops. Tiffany time. Tiffany Stratton still won. That's all that matters.
Yes. Now, the only thing I've got is this, Andy, arena football. We've talked about the UFL. We've talked about arena. A lot of teams quit, left. They reorganized the Arena League. The regular season is now done. The first round of the playoffs is done. Coming up on the 13th, this Saturday, the semifinals for Indoor Arena Football League. Indoor football, spring football, semifinals Saturday. One game's afternoon, one's night, and then the following week is the championship. So that's arena. Remember when the season first started and we said the Target Center is going to host the Arena Bowl? That's no longer. That's going to be in New Jersey now. Things have all changed and they move things around. Very fluid situation, but that will be in East Rutherford, I believe, not at Target Center. And so for baseball, we've got the All-Star break coming up, and it's not just the game anymore. It's the Futures game is on Sunday. Is in Futures, for those not familiar, it's basically your top prospects. Who's going to be in the pros in the Futures? Kind of a junior Olympic team, if you will, but it's
not really AAA teams either. You could be AA or single A and still get invited.
This is a combination of kind of like the Arizona Fall League. The Fall League is the top prospects. Doesn't matter. It's all commingled together. And so that's much like the Futures game. The Twins had one pick, which was Brooks Lee, to play in that. He came up and made his debut with the major leagues. And so it pulls him out of it. It pulls him out of the chance to be in the Futures because he's already in pros, so he's got to give that up. They traded out instead. It's going to be Luke Keeschel, a AA player, second baseman for Wichita, is going to take his spot and play in that game. So look for him, Luke Keeschel with a K, on Sunday in the Futures game down in Texas. And then Monday is dedicated to the home run contest a week from tonight. That's a home run hitting contest. Tuesday is the actual game. And so, like you said earlier, Andy said the starters have been announced, the reserves have been announced, the pitchers have been announced. All those are set to go. The only other thing I've got is for WNBA. WNBA, they do the rankings come out. A couple weeks ago, the Minnesota Lynx were the number one ranked team in the power ranking for the whole league. They dropped to 4. They dropped to 4.
Oh, they're that low. Wow.
So they went 1 win and 2 losses last week.
That'll do it to you.
One was against, I think, Connecticut, and one was against the lowest team, I think, Dallas. And that's what hurt them, and it dropped them down 3 spots. So they're still 4, still a good team, long way to go.
And they had to come from behind to beat Washington the other day, and they're another low-hanging fruit team.
Yeah, so they've leveled off a little bit. They're still one of the top premier teams, but they're no longer number 1. They are sitting at number 4 right now. The Twins power rankings came out, Andy. The Twins are now number 8 in Major League.
Their top 10, yeah.
And so that is good. That was their highest of the year, of sitting there in the 8th spot. They are currently the 4th best team in the American League. I think the 7th or 8th best team overall as far as record-wise. And all the teams have got one more week of playing to do, which is really 2 series left. They'll take the break for the All-Star team. Twins will be having Carlos Correa represent them as the only player. Once again, the good thing about that is it tells if a team is weak and they've got a superstar, that superstar goes. Or if the team is good and they've got a superstar, that person goes. Or if they got 2 superstars. The Twins, the compliment here is that they've got so many people contributing, so many people that are good with RBIs, so many guys that are up there with home runs, so many hitting for average, so many with doubles. They're a well put together team, and that's what's usually good. You take the shot in the All-Star game because you're limited to 1, so you hear about this banter of the Twins getting robbed, or did they get screwed over? I don't know. I don't think so. One could argue that they did, but it's still a compliment to have the one person because you've got all these people up there that are flying under the radar. Jose Miranda was American League Player of the Week. A lot of people nationwide didn't even know who he was. And so they've got a lot of players at that caliber, high average, but they're not making the waves. There's no drama on the team. There's no big standout guy. They're all contributing. So that's actually, I think, a good thing in this case. They're playing some good ball. That's all I've got for sports. Do you have anything else, Andy, or should we go to the trivia answer?
Let's do the trivia answer. That might lead to another sports topic I got. So go ahead with the trivia answer.
Always a good topic. At the beginning of the show, we had the Twins. Were always remembered for their not one but two triple plays in a single game. Turned the exact same way twice. 5, 4, 3 triple plays twice in a game. Who was the opponent?
I know this one.
Andy.
It was the opponent, and it was at the opponent's place. It was at Fenway Park against the Boston Red Sox.
Red Sox at home at Fenway were the recipients of triple plays twice turned against them in one game.
I think the Twins had like 3 or 4 double plays in that game too. For some reason, that sticks out in my head.
I think there was something to that.
But my point I was going to bring on that was they could have never have done that if you would have had the shift.
Okay.
Because Guidy was playing right at third. Unless you had a left-handed batter up, and if you were, you couldn't with the shift on. It was a triple play was really hard to do. You always had 3 guys on one side of the field. So there's one vote for
the positioning. Never would have allowed for it. And this was what you call a good or a routine triple play, the normal way. Not usually the triple plays that we see nowadays are the goofy backwards things random things happen that result in a triple play. These were the ball was hit to third.
Yeah, he was right there. He just literally grabbed the ball, took one step and touched it. It wasn't a stretch or a dive or anything. He was right there.
Triple play, 2 turns against you at home. The players for the Red Sox took their lumps that night, had to leave the game going with their tail between their legs after all those double plays and, quote, multiple triple plays.
Yeah.
But that was good. That's the triple play. That's a trivia score story for the day, for the week. Good stuff there. We're going to be back more with, Town Ball is in their last basically quarter of the season.
Last couple of weeks. Yeah, they have like 6 games left or something.
Some teams are less than that, and some teams have a lot more than that. I know the DRS is in the final third. Maybe, but boy, the Crow River, it's so tough. Your conference schedule is over 20 games of just playing your own conference twice. The other conference in the Crow, the division, every team once. So you're up over 20 just to get those games in. And then you've got your whole non-conference schedule. So that's why the games are so big. There's so many of them. We saw earlier with the River Valley League, the leader was 7-0. The second place was 6-1. And that was a conference. That's how few games they play in the conference. But this is Waconia won last night. They are 16-2 in the conference. That's 18 games, and there's still a couple weeks left to go yet. That's just conference games. We're not even giving you the overall record of these teams.
And
Watertown plays close to 40 games a season.
We're trying to put up, if you follow our social media, we're trying to put games from the High 10 League, Northern Minnesota leagues, River Valley, North Star. Try to keep all these games up. So in a few weeks, when they announce the state tournament and you see these teams, you have a little knowledge like, hey, I've seen that name a lot come up. Hey, they seem to, da. So again, we're here to educate. We're trying to help you, give you a little fair warning, show you some of the other conferences, some of their leagues, some of the games and schedules.
Yeah, there are some good conferences. The East, the Tomahawk East is one that I follow also down south. There's the Corn Belt League. There's all sorts of cool names. Land O'Lakes, so it is the resort. The Resorters is a conference up north with the resorts. Towns is called the Resorters Conference. So once again, Minnesota is one of the rare states who has all this stuff going on. Other states have somewhat of a type of a program. They've got town ball. No one does it like Minnesota with 280 teams playing in Class A, B, and C all through the summer months, and then it culminates with the state tournament on Labor Day. So it's huge, huge. Other states have it. They've got some good things, but no one does it like Minnesota. That's why we seem to cover that a lot.
You are going to be in Cleveland next week, right?
Yes, I'll be providing some updates in the Cleveland area for sports.
All right, good. All right, that's all we got.
We'll see you next week then.
See ya.
Talk to you later.